Here's your First Warn Weather forecast first, sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
Well, a strong cold front came through this morning, dropping our temperatures down, but allowing the wind to pick up. And while we still do have that breeze here this evening, the wind speeds will subside a bit later this evening. What you're likely noticing, and have been the last few hours, a little more cloud cover working in from the northwest at times, turning our skies mostly cloudy and keeping temperatures across northwest Illinois in the low 60s. 63 right now in Galena. We're 66 in Freeport, down to 65 here in Rockford, Rochelle, and 66 in Dixon. As we go through this evening, those temperatures will continue to drop back. We'll hang on to some cloud cover. Winds will ease, but overnight lows will drop back into the 40s. We'll look at a rebound in the temperatures heading into tomorrow afternoon, and when we could see those numbers back close to that 80-degree mark. Coming up in the First Warn forecast a little later.
Right now at 5, a man's arrested after a fatal crash in Belvidere, the accident that left his passenger dead.
Plus, Illinois Red Cross workers headed to the south. What they say we can do to help with recovery efforts.
And the Rockford Icehogs announced their latest partnership. The team hopes to improve youth literacy rates in Winnebago County.
Live from WTVO 17. This is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening. I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Wendell Edwards. We thank you for being here. New at 5 tonight, a former Dakota teacher and football coach pleads guilty to child pornography.
He took a plea deal today. Daniel Sheets pled guilty to 1 count of child pornography in court. He'd been facing nearly a dozen counts of the crime, along with unauthorized videotaping. Last summer, Stevenson County investigators say someone filed a report saying Sheets had been engaging in inappropriate communications with several girls who were students in 2021. Sheets is due back in court for sentencing hearing in December.
Tonight, a man is in custody after a fatal car crash in Belvidere.
37-year-old Jesus Mendoza pauses behind bars. Police say a van Mendoza was driving crashed into a pickup truck around 8:30 Saturday night, killing a 44-year-old woman who was his passenger. This was at the intersection of Farmington Way and Route 20 in Belvidere. The driver of the pickup was medically cleared at the scene. Investigators are determining if Mendoza was under the influence while driving. The Boone County coroner has not released the name of the victim. Mendoza is charged with reckless homicide. Recovery efforts continue in the southeast after catastrophic damage from Hurricane Helene. Illinois workers from ComEd and the Red Cross are being sent to the southeast to help.
Eyewitness reporter Blake Dietz spoke with one of those Red Cross workers today. And Blake, what can we do to help?
Wendell, Mimi, donations of food, blood, and time are 3 big asks of the Red Cross right now. The organization has faced blood supply shortages for months. Now, thousands of blood drives have been canceled due to Helene. Millions remain without power, many still without access to running water. Amanda Ventverlo was deployed to Tallahassee, Florida to aid efforts in the state's Big Bend region. And it's an area that's been hit by 3 hurricanes in the last 13 months. She says anyone, anywhere can help save lives.
If I were to recommend what one thing people could do, it would be to go to redcross.org and research a way that they can help and get involved. We always need more people to do the work. Again, I mentioned, blood donors. We need blood donors. People can help in multiple ways, even if that means you can't come here. There's many things that you can do from home that will help this effort make a huge difference.
I'll have more on the recovery efforts and how you can help. That's coming up at 6. Mimi.
All right, thanks, Blake. And if you'd like to help people affected by Hurricane Helene, we've got you covered. Our parent company, Nexstar Media, is helping raise money for the American Red Cross. If you'd like to give, just scan the QR code that you see there on your screen. So far, we've helped raise more than $70,000.
A local animal shelter is at capacity and is now offering reduced adoption fees this week. The Winnebago County Animal Shelter is ready to empty the shelters, offering $25 fees for select dogs and cats and $10 fees for kittens. The shelter says it is out of cages and needs more space for incoming animals, forcing it to use pop-up crates. Standard adoption procedures will still be enforced. You can speed up the process by getting pre-approved online. The reduced fees will last through Saturday. The Rockford Icehogs season starts next week. Today, the Icehogs announced a partnership, though, with the local nonprofit. It's teaming up with United Way of Rock River Valley. The nonprofit focuses on youth literacy in the state line. That partnership will end with a special literacy night at the December 14th game. Right now, only 32% of Winnebago County third graders read at grade level. That can have a long-lasting effect on the child's future.
If you're a child growing up without the ability to read at grade level, as you get older, your likelihood of graduating from high school goes way down. Your likelihood of being involved in the juvenile justice system goes way up, unfortunately, which means your ability to be gainfully employed, to be part of the workforce in a position that really would support you and your future family, it goes way down.
This year, United Way expects to distribute more than 100,000 books to children in the area.
Today, Stevenson County students got the chance to learn more about the environment around them. It was the Keepers of the Land field trip held at Oakdale Forest Preserve in Freeport. Third graders got the chance to learn more about caring for the environment. That included learning about insects, how to properly observe nature, and the history of Illinois as a prairie state. Also taught was how small actions like littering or leaving the lights on can still impact the earth.
They're learning about, what their impact could be on the environment, and that's important for them to understand that the actions that they do matter. So it's just kind of starting to get them to think about what they're doing so that way as they get older they'll be better stewards for the earth.
Keepers of the Land has been an annual field trip for students for over 20 years.
Beloit seniors get the chance to learn more about the services and resources available to them. This morning was the 36th annual Beloit Senior Fair held at the Eclipse Center. The free event featured 68 exhibitors with information ranging from insurance to long-term care to health screenings, even flu shots. Free bus rides from Beloit Transit were available to and from the fair. Organizers say it's important to let residents know about the services available to them.
This information is very vital to seniors. That helps them determine the next steps that they want to take with some things in their life, with their health, and with their insurance.
The Senior Fair just wasn't information. There was some fun to be had too, including live music and games at several of the exhibits. She added that the city is already looking forward to next year's fair.
Still to come, tonight's the big night for the vice presidential nominees.
What viewers can expect before the two men take the stage in New York City.
And coming up at 6, Boone County ensures its residents stay safe this flu season. The weekly vaccination clinics throughout the month.
We made it spot on our high temperature for today, 69 degrees, a difference from that 82 we made it to yesterday, but the numbers warm as the winds turn back around to the south. Find out how long it'll be before we see our next dip in those numbers. Coming up in the First Warn forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Mimi Murphy, Wendell Edwards, Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Right now, all lanes of Harrison Avenue in Rockford are shut down due to a deadly motorcycle crash. This video just into our newsroom shows a white tent with the motorcycle near it. This is just west of Alpine Road. Our video also shows a garbage truck. Police have not said yet what happened, but they do ask everyone to avoid the area while they investigate. The vice presidential candidates are getting ready to take center stage in New York.
Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will face off tonight. Maddie Beertemple lets us know what we all can expect.
The stakes are high for both candidates. Tonight is the only scheduled VP debate before Election Day in just 5 weeks. Democratic vice presidential nominee and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said Monday he's ready to debate.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
Former President Donald Trump expressed confidence in his running mate, Ohio Republican Senator J.D. Vance.
J.D. is going to do great. He's a very smart guy. He's done a great job. People like him a lot.
The 90-minute matchup could be the last between the two tickets before the election. Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris have not agreed to a second debate.
In a vice presidential debate, you're really advocating for the top of the ticket.
Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine, a former VP nominee, says both candidates will try to protect their running mates.
Probably the only cardinal rule in a debate like this for the vice presidential nominee is don't allow kind of shots on goal against your top of the ticket.
But VP candidates also play another role.
And they are attack dogs.
George Washington University professor Matthew Dalek says debates rarely move the needle, but it could be a chance for campaigns to get their message across.
It's a cliche that happens to be true, that every vote matters. And so at the margins, it could have some effect.
CBS says candidates will not be fact-checked during the debate, something the Trump-Vance campaign calls good news.
Well, the moderator should be there simply to ask tough questions and let the candidates answer, and then let the American people decide.
Now, candidates will get 2 minutes to respond to questions, and unlike in the presidential debates, microphones will not be muted while the other person is speaking. In Washington, I'm Maddie Beer-Temple.
Tonight's debate will air on both WTVO and Fox 39 at 8 p.m. Coverage here with ABC starts at 7. Over on Fox 39, our late news will begin after the debate concludes. We want to know, are you planning to watch the vice presidential debate? You can vote in our poll, yes or no. Just scan this code that you see there on your screen, or you can always vote in any of our daily polls by going to mystateline.com/vote. We'll keep this poll up all night on our website so you can make your voice heard. Here in the State Line, we did see a drop in the temperatures a little bit, only getting into the 60s today.
Candace King will let us know how long these cooler temperatures could last. Her full forecast is next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, we've had some sunshine, although that has been filtered in with a little more cloud cover over the last couple of hours, and we can see some of those clouds moving in on our Mercial Sky Track camera here out in Freeport. This brought to us by Rockford Career College. Plenty of sunshine still out there and lots of cool air. In fact, considering we were in the low 80s yesterday, temperatures today were stuck in the 60s. We made it up to 69 degrees this afternoon in Rockford. We're now down to 65, 64 in Freeport, 65 in Rochelle, and 64 temperature out in Dixon. Our weather watcher Ben in South Beloit this evening, 65 degrees, 37 that dew point temperature. No rainfall at all today, and next several days we are going to stay dry. 66 for our weather watcher Terry down in Genoa, dew point temperature also at 38, so lots of dry air in place. Northwesterly wind anywhere from 14 up to 22 miles per hour. So it has been rather windy, and those wind gusts continue here this evening, although the gusts themselves are beginning to subside, but we still maintain that breeze from the northwest, 10 to 20 miles per hour. As we get closer to sunset, that wind speed will come down as high pressure continues to build in, and with that we've got a relatively calm wind, which will help our temperature drop into the low 40s for tonight. So it'll be a colder start tomorrow. Winds will turn back around to the southwest once we head into tomorrow afternoon. So down to 41 degrees. That's where we'll head for the night tonight. We've got a few clouds out there. If the cloud cover thickens up enough tonight, that may keep us up. But if not, I would not be surprised if some areas drop back into the 30s. There's a very, very small patchy frost potential, more so north of the state line late tonight in Wisconsin. But again, I think that is on the lower end of things. Temperature for tomorrow, we are back up to 72. Lots of dry air in place, so that'll help us warm. And winds tomorrow will get a little breezy, right around 25 miles per hour. Now, one thing we will have to watch, not only in the next couple of days, but really I think for the next week, week and a half, if we've got dry conditions, which it looks like we are going to see, and we continue with those winds, may have to watch for some issues with some field fires, especially with harvest going on, the dry vegetation, the wind, it just kind of helps fuel that. So that's something to kind of keep in the back of your mind, especially if you are doing field work or you're involved in any sort of that if we've got the wind, drier conditions, that may be a little more elevated. And we could see some of that going into Sunday, because our wind is expected to pick up on Sunday. Now let's talk about those freezing temperatures. Well, maybe let's not. But our average first fall freeze typically around the 13th of October. So we're only about 2 weeks away from that. Last year we got down to 31. That was on the 10th of October, and the year before that, October 8th. So we are getting into that time where we start to talk a little more about those freezing temperatures, but I don't think we see any of those anytime soon. The cloud cover for us this evening, well, that's because we've got some stronger winds in the jet stream that helped push that cold front through here this morning, and that's really when those winds started to pick up. But our wind speed begins to increase a little tomorrow as the wind shifts back around to the southwest tomorrow afternoon. Low to mid 70s. We're back down into the 40s tomorrow night, but upper 70s, close to 80 on Thursday. This is ahead of another cold front that'll come in. This will be late Thursday night, Friday morning. Now with this, I think Futurecast is a little overzealous on some of this rainfall. There is an increase in moisture, so I'm going to hold on to a couple of passing showers, but I don't think at this point it looks like it'll be anything too heavy as we head into Friday morning, and then we'll dry things out as we head towards Friday night. Temperatures will stay in the 70s then as we head into the weekend.
Thank you, Candace.
Scott's in next with sports.
He'll tell us what Cubs president Jed Hoyer is saying about the job manager Craig Counsell did this season.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
Baseball's playoffs are underway, and for the sixth time in 7 years, the Cubs are not involved in them. Their 83-win season this year wasn't nearly good enough. And the buck stops at the top with President of Baseball Operations Jed Hoyer. He oversees everything from the budget to the coaching staff to player evaluation. And today he met with reporters for his end-of-the-season news conference. Hoyer didn't fault Craig Counsell for the job he did this season managing the team.
We signed him to a 5-year deal, not a 1-year deal for a reason. I think that, the impact he's going to have on the organization, I think will be tremendous, and I think it'll be felt year after year, every year. I think being able to come in, establish a culture, help us, get better with processes and things like that. I think he's going to have a huge impact. I understand if you want to take a sort of a 1-year snapshot and we have the same record, that can be a view you can take, but I take a completely different view, which is I think he's going to have a massive impact on us for a long time.
Hoyer wouldn't say how much money the Cubs are prepared to spend this offseason to try to improve the team. Well, the playoffs open this afternoon in Houston. The Tigers defeated the Astros 3-1 behind starting pitcher Tariq Skubal. He pitched 6 shutout innings. Skubal won 18 games during the regular season. He will likely win the American League Cy Young Award. In Milwaukee, the Brewers and Mets are on the field right now in Game 1 of their wild card series. The Mets lead at 3-2 in the third. All the wild card series are best of 3. The next 2 days are going to be big for the Icehogs. They will play back-to-back preseason games against the Iowa Wild. It's a chance for some players to open eyes and perhaps win a roster spot. It's also a chance for Anders Sorensen to experiment with some line combinations, although he told me that already he has a good idea what lines he'll go into the season with when it starts.
I think we have it in our mind at times, but it doesn't always seems like it always changes, right? But I think we feel good about the different type of players that we have, their attributes they have individually that we think they can fit together. Obviously, then you have to go on the ice and work as well there. But in our mind, we kind of have a roadmap of what we look at, and hopefully we can kind of stick to that.
Tomorrow's preseason game will be at the BMO Center. It's a 10:30 a.m. school day start. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Well, our temperatures for us tonight will drop down into the low 40s, especially if we hang on to some of the cloud cover we have out there now. But if we do see that clear out, there's a good chance some of us could fall back into the 30s. So a little chilly out there to start tomorrow. 72 for the afternoon. Wednesday, Thursday will be beautiful days. Small chance for rain late Thursday night.
Thank you, Candace.
And thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again at 6.